Welcome back everyone, and in this video I'm going to be talking about Boolean variables and how they are useful throughout code, specifically for the readability of code and how we can integrate them into an if and else statement or a block of code that we used in the previous video. So what's a Boolean? Well, a Boolean holds only two values, and that's going to be either a true or a false. Think of it as a switch. Either it's on or it's not, right? Are the lights on? True. Are the lights off? False. So let's take an example. In the last video, we were asking the end user to input their name. So let's ask the user, what is your name? And the one thing that we were checking for was empty entrances in regards to, or empty replies for the username. So let's go ahead and create a string variable. That's the name. We're going to do the exact same thing as we did in the last video. We're going to read the line. And we want to know if the name is empty or not, which is just an empty string. So in this case, I'm going to set up a new variable that is going to be of data type bool. And that's a representation of the Boolean. And I'm going to name it is empty. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it to false for now. So we're going to go ahead and say if is empty, then we're going to say the user has no name. Else, we know it's not empty. We're going to say the user has a name. Let's go ahead and write our write lines and responses in regards to the user having a name. So nice to meet you. And we're going to go ahead and concatenate the name. And if they don't have a name, you have no name. Okay. Now, I did want to go ahead and note down that if you just write down the Boolean variable name is empty, this is the same as writing equals true. So if the variable of the Boolean is empty, then we know that they have no name. So writing equals true is the same as just writing is empty. And that's because when the execution of the program happens and it looks for the Boolean's value, it'll check to see if it's actually true or not. If we wanted to check and see if is empty equals false, we can write it as seen here with an equals false, or we can negate it by using an exclamation mark. Okay, so this would mean if it's false, then run this piece of code. Or else, if it's not false, then run that piece of code. It's a little confusing when you say it, but this represents a false statement. This is a true statement for is empty, or not a statement, but a value of that Boolean variable. And that's exactly the same as this. So as you're starting coding and you're on your journey to becoming the world's best programmer, you can go ahead and actually write code like this: is empty equals false, or is empty equals true. I will say though, as you progress in your career, your hobby, you actually won't see much of this. You'll see more of this. And a lot of programmers will just go ahead and write the Boolean because we know that this is a representation of the value is empty equals true. For now, we're going to leave it like this. And let's check if the name is empty and update this Boolean, because in the very beginning, we've gone ahead and set it up as a false. And that's just the default that we want it as. We're assuming that the name is always going to be written out by the end user, but let's go ahead and check to see that. So how do we assign a value? Well, it's the same as the other video where we use strings and integers. We're going to go ahead and say is empty equals, and then we're going to go ahead and give it the condition that we want to check. In this case is name equals string.empty. And that'll go ahead and update this Boolean for this condition, whether it's empty or not. Now let's go ahead and run our code and see how it works. Hit the start button at the top and the debugger starts, and there you go. So what is your name? Well, let's go ahead and just press enter. And it says you have no name. So our program's working correctly. Let's try the other condition. What is your name? My name is Bob. Nice to meet you, Bob. Press enter to terminate the program. Okay, very well. So our program is actually working, and the condition is written outside of the if statement that we're looking at, the conditional statement. So let's take a look at line 23. Let's just leave it as is empty and give it another try. What is your name? My name is Bob. Nice to meet you, Bob. Press enter to terminate the program, and it's working the way that it should. Very well. That's how you use Booleans. They're very useful, and I like to check for conditions outside of the if statement just because it makes it a little bit more readable and a little bit nicer. Okay, and that concludes the video for Booleans. Pretty short and sweet, but we'll be using Booleans as we head into other videos and other tutorials. If you guys end up liking the content, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.